Hi, so this is a review of the Essick Air 821 whole house or whole room humidifier. A quick executive summary, I can tell you that this is a terrible product with a lot of design flaw, but I would still recommend it, and you'll see why. So I'm going to start by taking the lid off. Actually, remove this little panel here and remove the top part. As you can see, or you know, these kind of humidifier is really just a big bucket for water, an air filter, and a fan. That's all it is. Now, as I say, a big bucket of water. It's on wheels, which is one of the main reasons why we got it, because we're sick of filling things like these for the smaller humidifier. So with this one, you can basically just bring it to the sink or the shower and use the hose to pour water in quickly. So look at inside. It's not much to it. The main part, of course, is this filter. And this is the first design flaw. The filter can go in this way or this way, it seems, right? But actually, it cannot. It has to go in this way, and it's very unclear that this is the right way. If you look closely, it actually printed on here, says front, but what if you missed this? If you put it in the wrong way, the airflow will not be correct. The second question is, well, how much water do we put in? A lot of people will think, oh, I'm just going to fill it all the way to the top, but that is wrong because you need to leave room for the air to pass through. So if you look inside, on the filter, there is this little ridge with waves. This is the high water mark. Again, absolutely not obvious. Luckily, they put a little sticker inside. It says, fill here, with the arrow pointing down. That is also confusing because what this really means is fill up to here. Finally, the last thing that's inside is this little water level detector, right? As you can see, it's nothing more than a rod with a piece of styrofoam on it that floats, which is not so bad. It actually works. So we clip it back into here. And you can see the water, if it's water in it, it will flow up. When it's empty, it will be down, right? And this thing pressed against the switch in the top, which I'm going to show you next. So this is the top half, which is where all the electronics are, right? You see it's a big fan. This is the cord, and notice the sensor for the humidity is actually here, which is fine. And the key part is there's a little micro switch here. And remember we had that water level detection gizmo. When the water is filled, it floats up and pushes this thing down. And when the water is empty, it drops down to the bottom and this thing comes up. Okay? So now let me put this thing back onto the humidifier, and you'll see some of the problems. Okay, so I'm just trying to line this thing up, put it in. Now, it doesn't go in very well. This whole thing is kind of wobbly. Sometimes the filter gets in the way, so if you push the filter in a little bit, that helps. Okay. Now let's say it's in. You switch it on. Now you notice there's a flashing F. And why is that the case? Because it thinks that there's no water, it's empty. Why? Let's switch it back off. I'll show you. Now if you look at the level thing, clearly it's still floating up. Right, so this is in the I have waters mode. But this thing is so small, and the switch is so small that it's not hitting it. It's impossible to line it up. I tried many, many times and I've never managed to line it up. So basically, right from the store, or from Amazon in this case, this thing doesn't work. The water level detection does not work. So the unit thinks that there's no water and it will not go into high-speed fan mode. Bad, right? How do you fix it? You can fix it with an index card. I just folded up the index card, taped it down, leave a little room. Okay, I'm going to take this thing, trim it down a little bit so that it fits, and just slot this in there. Okay, so now there's a much bigger target for the rod to hit. I'm going to put this whole thing back again. Again, this is much harder than it needs to be. Now luckily, once you get all this going, you don't really need to take the lid off except for cleaning, right? So you can see it's very badly done. The seam is not clear. But now, let's try it. So you notice there's no more flashing F because now it's correctly pressing the switch. If you can hear me, it knows there's water. When there's water, the back switch here toggle between F2 and F1. So F1 is the low mode and F2 is the high mode. And then the middle switch toggles through the target humidity. Okay, so 25 it comes off. 30 is still off. I guess our house right now is 30-ish. And when it's 35 it comes on. And now I'm having a problem switching it off now, as you can see. So even the switch themselves are not that great. But anyway, so now that it's working, this thing's nice and easy on wheels. So we can bring it to the sink and just fill it up with the hose. And put this back. That is the unit. So in summary, full of design flaw, but this unfortunately is the only one at this price point, which is about $150, that is available. So this company basically can live with such a horrible design because there's nothing else out there. So if you need a high capacity whole house or at least one house level humidifier, this is still the one to get. But I really hope they fix all the design flaws. Thank you for watching.